In the living room, we're gonna talk about just about everything. In the living room, hiding from it is no longer a choice. In the living room, we're gonna talk about just about everything.
Hey everyone, welcome to In the Living Room, Conversations for the Grown and Professional. I'm your host, Durante Smith, with my beautiful co-hosts. Ladies, introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Nicole Langlois. I live here in Atlanta. I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm single with no kids.
I'm Jill Collins. I've been in Atlanta for more than 22 years, originally from Peoria, Illinois. I have two kids, a 14-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter.
Great. So In the Living Room, it is a sort of in-your-face format of, current topics that I think people are discussing around the country, different cities, urban, suburban, rural, it doesn't matter. But I think it's just things that we're dealing with as working professionals, and we'll get straight into the topic today. So this is an interesting one. You mean you want me to date outside my race? That's the topic today, ladies. I can honestly say that I have no issues dating outside my race. I've dated a variety of different women over the course of my lifetime. Asian, Caucasian, doesn't matter. And I think a lot of men, black men in particular, have no issues dating outside the race. But that does not tend to play or bode well, as I understand, with black women or biracial, whatever the case might be. Most black women are very close-minded when it comes to dating outside their race. So Nicole, my first question to you is, do you date outside the race? And if you do, what have been your experiences? And on top of that, how do you feel your counterparts feel about that?
Yes, I have dated outside of my race. It was a great experience. Counterparts, people, we live in a society where people are just prejudiced. That's just the bottom line.
Okay.
There's no way of sugarcoating that.
Prejudice and how? How do you say prejudice?
Some people don't believe in mixing races. You go places, you get those dirty little stares. I don't have a problem dating outside my race. Therefore, I don't have a problem seeing brothers date outside of their race. That's a source of contention with a lot of black women. Obviously, they feel hurt, they feel dejected that perhaps, what does that particular woman have that I don't have? Or they feel that the brothers pretty much are sellout. But I have not had a problem with that.
That's an interesting point, because that's what I got a lot of, okay? Mm-hmm. I remember back in '96, I was dating an Australian. Long-legged, beautiful, blonde hair, blue-eyed, and I don't want to sound, what's the word? I don't want to sound trite. However, this young lady, she came from money. She had a certain level of expectation. I brought her to Atlanta for the very first time, which was a predominantly black city. She had no experience in a predominantly black city before. So for her, she was very open-minded. And she was not understanding of the closed-mindedness that she ran into, particularly with black women. She would be very friendly and open with them, but they would shut up and close down on her in a matter of
well, if they saw her
seconds.
with you, of course. Yeah.
What's been your experience, Jill?
This is a topic that is very near and dear to my heart. I am biracial. My mom is white, my dad is black.
Okay.
I need to go back to your opening statement. I know a lot of black men that will date white women or other women,
okay,
but they would never marry.
Ah, okay.
I hear that from a lot of my black friends who have dated outside of their race. They're okay to have sex with, to have short-term relationships with, but they would never take them home to meet their mom.
Wow.
Okay. I, of course, have no problem dating outside of my race. I do find it very difficult in Atlanta to meet somebody open. I've only been approached maybe twice in my life by somebody outside of my race, or by a white guys. I think it would be easier if I were in LA or in another city where it's the norm. I feel like Atlanta is very segregated still, from the churches,
very
the schools, the
segregated, yeah.
subdivisions. So I don't think this is the kind of community or society where they embrace it down here as much as they might in other cities. Now, I must say something. My dad once told me, he said, the most racist people in this world are white men and black women.
Wow.
He said, because a white man does not want you to have his white woman, and a black man does not want you to, a black woman does not want you to have her black man.
Yeah, she
Wow.
sure
I
is.
can see that.
And so far I have to concur. It's a controversial statement, but I totally agree.
And your dad being a white male, right?
No, black.
Black
My dad
black
is
man.
black.
Okay.
And you know
Black.
what's so interesting to me? I have a friend who has her same coloring. And she says the exact same thing. She goes, white guys do not approach
Right.
her,
They-
ever.
they do
Really?
not.
Yeah.
Never.
That is
Isn't that
just-
amazing?
Never.
That's amazing.
Never. Never.
That is amazing.
Nope.
Huh.
Nope.
Wow. Now, I have to say, and this is not going to come as a shocker to anybody that really knows me, but I used to be hung up on preferences. My preference was light complected, long hair, straight hair, you know, this quote unquote model look. That was like all through high school, part of college, till I reached a certain point of becoming more mature and understanding more about, you know, people and just in general, right? But I think a lot of guys are still hung up on that.
Oh, absolutely. And women as well.
Yeah, I know you for a fact you've had to experience that sort of animosity from darker skinned women that think that you think you're better because you're lighter and you have straight hair, versus, you know, Nicole, you might have had the experience of you felt that you didn't get an opportunity or something like that because you didn't have the light skin or the long hair. Is that the case?
Well, I personally have not had that experience because I have a bit of overabundance of confidence in myself, but I can see my mother is very dark complected.
Okay.
And she would tell me, you know, stories of people, you know, name calling. That's kind of like the elephant in the room with the black community. We don't talk about
Right.
our skin tones.
Right.
You know, we don't talk about that much, or grade of hair. You know,
Right.
do I wish I had a softer grade of hair? I always joke around with my friend. It's like, you know, I'm from Africa. I got that African nappy hair. As you know,
Right.
if you want a baby with, you know, I might give you a baby with some light eyes, but your baby surely will have nappy hair if you hook up with me. So, but
Right.
that's a thing in the black culture.
Right.
You know, we're very, very hooked on.
But we also
on-
downplay that. I mean, we feel like, you know, if you have kinky hair, it's a bad thing. Versus, you know,
Well,
I mean,
We don't talk about it. We don't downplay it. We don't talk about it.
In the living room.
I
Okay.
think I told you this maybe one of the first 2 times we met, and this was very interesting. The same dad that made that statement, I have a stepdad and a biological dad, the same dad that made that statement also told me that he intentionally married a white woman so that his children would have an easier time in life than he did.
There you go.
Wow.
And because he is dark
That's
skinned
powerful.
and he worked the fields.
That is
And
powerful.
while
He
it's-
intentionally married a white woman
he
for that
intentionally
reason.
married a white woman so that his kids would have an easier life than he
Well, a
did.
lot of brothers, like you said, they'll hook up with a certain type of girl. They might want an Asian girl. They might. A lot of brothers are into Latinas because they want their children to look a certain way. That's just the reality of the situation. And women do the exact same thing. How many women do you know that are caught up on the light skinned guy?
Right.
You know, I get people all the time. Guys are like, "Oh, you know, I'm light skinned." It's like, sweetie, that went out in the '80s. You know,
Right.
that was good back then. But you know, who kind of
Right.
cares about that now? Besides for Star Jones and Oprah.
Right, I got you.
But I'll tell you, being biracial, you experience racism from both sides.
Absolutely, yeah.
I get it from white people because they clearly know I'm not white. I get it from black people. I'm not black enough. That's always been in question here in Atlanta, growing
Well,
up in
see,
high school. Where I'm,
you're a triple threat. I think so much it's not the fact that you're biracial. I think it's the fact that you're a very attractive woman. And women, that's another thing we don't talk about. Women are very envious of that sometimes. So a beautiful woman, you know, women won't say things, but they'll feel that energy that you get, that draw that you have when you go places, and people resent that.
So, Nicole, do you feel that I understand you have a certain, as you say, abundance of confidence, but do you think that your other brown-skinned sisters would feel threatened by Jill?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And Jill, conversely, do you ever feel threatened by, or do you even feel intimidated by these? Let's say you walk into a restaurant, there are a group of brown-skinned women, right? And you're with a dude, and they automatically assume that if you have your hair straight and in the right setting, you look white. So they automatically assume that you're white, or they really aren't really certain. They might think you're Latino or something. but you with this guy, and then you catching all these stares and all this hate. Do you feel that way? Do you
If
think
I
this?
sense or feel people were looking, I try to eat it up and indulge in it. The bigger problem, though, and I worry about my daughter as it relates to this because she's light-skinned,
Okay.
is people think you're weak or you're passive just because you're light-skinned. You're not tough enough.
Weak or passive?
Because you're light-skinned, you're not hardcore.
Wow. I never would have thought that. Nicole, you said you don't have a problem with it, right? So at what point did you become okay with dating someone outside of your work? 'Cause you were raised in New Orleans. I can't imagine that being acceptable in New Orleans.
Actually, it is because there's so many mixed races in New Orleans.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. You get into the whole Creole thing. I used to always have people ask me, "Are you Creole?" And I would have to kind of educate them or just, give them a little sly joke and say, well, Creole is a seasoning in food, It's all subjective. But I was fortunate.
So you're not Cajun?
I like Cajun food, but I'm a black woman. I had somebody ask me if I was Asian one time. It's like, are you drunk in the middle of the afternoon? What do you mix with? Color. I mix with all kind of color. But I was so fortunate to be raised in a very loving, liberal home in Louisiana. And, a lot of people can interpret that any way they like. But my family was never closed-minded. They were always open-minded. So, when I started dating someone outside my race, I was never concerned about taking them home because my family was so focused on me being happy that, if I brought home an Asian, a 5'2" Asian, or some guy from Yugoslavia or something, it'd be like, welcome. Do you drink would be the question that they would ask, as opposed to being focused on what race he is.
In the living room.
So, okay, but sisters, why are they so hung up? I mean, just be honest. My sister would not date, I'm sorry, she would not date a dude outside of her race. She would not do it. She would not do it.
Well,
why?
This is when we need to bring in a professional therapist.
I think it's fear of rejection.
You think it's what?
Fear of rejection.
Fear of rejection from whom? Society, from her race, from whom? Who are we speaking of?
Both. That what happens if I become vulnerable and I open myself up to dating outside of the race, nobody wants me? Or what happens if I do and then I bring him home and then my mom is looking at me, sideways?
So are you saying you think that a black woman that dates a white man becomes tainted? Is that what you're saying?
No.
No,
No. I say that because that's how a lot of white men look at white women.
No.
If a white woman, I'm gonna tell you something. This is what I know personally. If a white woman dates a black man, a lot of the people that I know, and granted it's rural, but I mean it's not necessarily just in the rural areas. A lot of the white guys do not feel comfortable knowing that that woman has dated a black man.
No, I understand where you're going with that. No, I don't think that even crosses our mind. But if I were to put myself in a situation and I go, say, to a predominantly or all white place, with the desire of meeting somebody outside of my race, but it doesn't happen. Time and time again, it doesn't happen. After a while, you do begin to feel a little bit like, well, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not attractive to this group of people. So I think it's that fear of rejection that I would rather shut it down from jump than to open myself up and give it a try.
Let me say something. I think that a part, and you and I can understand where I'm about to go with this. I think a part of it is that women are, you're closed-minded to an extent that you're not willing to even put yourselves in a position to be able to meet someone outside of your race.
They're not interested.
And what I'm saying is say, for example, how we would go to salsa clubs, right? You know good and damn well that if you're in a salsa spot, you're going to have a Latino dude come up and hit on you at any given second. Whether you can salsa, whether you can't, it doesn't even matter. I know for a fact, I've taken my wife to a salsa place, and my wife she's as brown skinned as I am. I leave for 5 minutes and somebody's in her face trying to get at her. You know what I mean? So I can't really buy into the concept that some other races aren't attracted to you for whatever the reason might be. I think it's more of a matter that ladies aren't putting yourselves even in a position to even meet anyone outside of your race.
Well, they're not interested. You have to be interested first.
So where's the lack of interest coming from?
Well, I have a secret theory.
What is it?
That's the extreme of what she's saying. I think so many of us grew up in broken homes that a lot of black women are trying to recreate a unit and a family that they did not have. And the black man is essential to that.
I can see.
They're not interested any shape, form, or fashion in pursuing a relationship outside of their race. They want a brother.
Well,
It's non-negotiable. That's a deal breaker.
here's the thing I say. I always say this. I feel like if the other person happens to be of a different skin tone, a different color, different race, but they make you happy, I don't believe you should sacrifice your happiness for, you know, the whole concept of staying within your race. I just don't buy into that. And maybe I'm more liberal or open-minded than most.
You're a bleeding heart liberal.
Well, I would also say I think it could go back to slavery. You know, some of the mindsets that have been passed down from generation to generation. If you think about if a black woman was the possession of a white man and she had to have sex with him because she was his possession, there could be some generational, some inbred anger and resentment towards white men that has been passed down from generation to generation. So I'm not open to it because it was forced upon us, 6, 7, 8 generations ago, and that mentality's just been passed down from mother to daughter. I mean, I think it's a much deeper issue than what we're making it.
In the living room.
So are there pros and are there cons? Because both of you guys, you dated outside
I
your
have.
race? You
I
have.
have.
Okay. What are the pros and cons, Nicole? What are pros and cons to dating outside of your race? And let's think of it this way. Think of the ladies out here that haven't done it, that might be open to it. Because damn it, if somebody is, you're approaching 40 years old, you still haven't found that right person, and you've been so closed up this entire time, right? And it's like, okay, you know what? Maybe I gotta switch it up and try something different. What are your pros and your cons that you would tell somebody out there that's watching that says, hey, I might would be open to it, but you have to sell me on it. What is it?
There are no cons. The pros are you open yourself up to try something different, to try something new that you've not experienced before. Going out on a date with someone is not a commitment. It's not like giving blood, So I would definitely encourage people to get outside of their box once again and try dating outside your race.
Okay, let's keep it real. All right, so you go to date the little Asian dude. Everybody says Asians have short wieners. Right? Is that a factor? I'm serious. I mean, you laugh, but I'm serious. Is that a factor?
I'm not going to get to the wiener portion of the program.
But I'm just saying, is that a factor? Is that a factor in your dating? Because you date this dude, and
don't
at some
make me
point,
call out some brothers that are not equipped to handle the job.
I didn't say every brother was.
But I'm saying you're talking about
a
little
foot-long
wieners.
hot dog. I didn't say that, but I'm saying
when you start talking about wieners, that's a whole rainbow. That's a whole crayon box of different things. That's not gender specific.
It's a stereotype.
It is a
we can agree it's a stereotype,
and it's not an accurate stereotype.
But are there stereotypes that are designed for a reason? In other words, we all can agree there are stereotypes, and it's unfortunate these stereotypes they aren't necessarily accurate.
Absolutely.
Right? But they are stereotypes for a reason. I'm saying, we say the white dude, right? We say the white dude. Black women don't want to say date a white dude because they think, oh well, he might have a small thing. I mean, I'm telling you. I
had a girlfriend that said, hey, be very careful. You dating that white guy. He might murder you and chop you up into 1,000 pieces. People are going to have ignorant stereotypes. Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Most stereotypes
so
are
that's not important to you.
Absolutely.
Most stereotypes
so that's
are
not
fear-based.
important. The size of the ship is not important.
What kind of show are we having?
I'm just saying. I just asked a question. I mean, it's not important. That is it important or not? Answer the question somebody out there want to know, because I'm telling you, I know I'll put you on blast. Okay.
I refuse to answer that question on the grounds that it may incriminate me.
Okay, Jill. So let's move forward to you. So you go out. What's pros and cons? What are pros and cons?
There are no cons. There are no cons.
There are no cons. Ladies,
there's nothing.
Listen to us, ladies.
There's
there
nothing.
are no cons.
Yeah, there's nothing to lose by dating it. I think open yourself up. Open yourself up to love and get out of the fear. The fear of what people are going to say.
Get out of your house.
The fear of what your family is going to say. The fear that you're not going to have anything in common. Get out of the fear. Get into the love.
My point being is, I would say I don't agree with you to say that there are no cons. The reason why I say there are no cons is simply because of this, guys. If there were no cons, people would be doing it more. The cons to me are, if you have a situation where you go out, you're in a predominantly white environment, and you go out with a white person, the white person, more than often than not, is going to feel more comfortable then you take them into a predominantly black setting. Follow what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
No, I don't agree with that whatsoever. Most of the time when I've traveled all over the world and whenever I would go places, I was the only black person there.
If you flip the scenario and you're taking your white husband to a predominantly black setting, more often than not, they're going to feel uncomfortable.
How are they
that's
going to feel
a con.
uncomfortable when they are pursuing and they desire and they're romantically involved with a black woman?
I agree.
They couldn't be more comfortable in a black setting.
But I agree with you.
So you're saying the white girls didn't feel comfortable?
I'm saying that I've seen, I know.
Because I know the white boys are very comfortable.
I know personally, nah, I can't agree with you. I know
that
personally.
The white guys that date black women?
I know personally white men that date black women.
And they're not comfortable.
That you take them to a black church, they may not feel comfortable.
Wow.
You take them to, a black restaurant, a entirely black restaurant in the hood, they may not feel comfortable.
But that's okay.
You know what I'm saying?
It's okay. It goes both ways.
I don't like
it
to go
goes
to
both
restaurants in
ways.
the hood. I'm not comfortable.
It goes both ways, but it's still not a con.
Yeah.
It's still not a
think that's
con.
a con?
No.
Wow.
Adversity is a part of life. Everybody's not going to like you within your race and without, outside of your race.
Women are strong. Women are so powerful. You use the word independent. I don't like it because there's a negative connotation to it. But women are strong and women are resilient. So if that's the worst thing you have to worry about, somebody looking at you when you go out to eat, what are you, 14?
Yeah, but unfortunately, a lot of people, they have that kind of
why I say it's fear-based.
But they need to grow up.
Gain,
like you said,
gain some greater perspective.
You're over 35 years old. You're single.
Yeah.
The issue with black people, we're in the living room. They want what they want. The brothers want what they want. The sisters want what they want.
I'd say, to me, it sounds like at the end of the day, the bottom line is people need to open their way of thinking, broaden their range of thinking, and to consider dating outside the race.
I agree. My takeaway, I would say, get away from the groupthink. In our culture, we have so much groupthink.
Cliques.
That not even cliques. Just no lack of individual thought processes and thinking. Become a critical thinker. Stop thinking like the rest of the race just because you are a part of the race. And have your own identity. And
stop being a follower. You don't always have to go out with your girlfriends. I've had friends where I've invited, hey, meet me at this social and meet me at this cocktail reception. I've had girlfriends who waited in the parking lot until I got there. It's like, for the love of all that's holy, please walk in.
By yourself.
You might accidentally meet someone.
Right.
A guy will be more willing to approach you if you're by yourself, as opposed to me with my 3 other attractive girlfriends. He doesn't want to be rejected.
That's right.
He doesn't want to take that risk and chance that I might reject him if he comes up to me.
That's exactly right.
Have some courage and try to do a few things differently.
And on your own.
Please go to a movie, go out to dinner, go to an event by yourself. Yes, absolutely.
In the living room.
Guys, you've heard what the women had to say. We give you ladies a little inside a grown man's perspective. Okay, I say it like this. I honestly think that if more people would be willing to consider dating, I'm gonna speak specifically to black women. I think if more of you all would be more open to dating outside of your race, you'll find that you may not have to sit at home, alone watching TV. You may not have to, find yourself without, someone that can be, a companion, a lifetime companion for you. I think if you give yourself some freedom and some flexibility to just have that consideration, put yourself in a space of where there might be an opportunity to meet someone else, I think you'll find that you'll have a much better overall experience. On that note, I'd like to leave you guys with my contact information. My name is Durante Smith. As I said earlier, reach out to me, send me an email, let us know, give us your feedback if you would. My contact is dlsmith@solarisfilmworks.net. Nicole?
Hi, you can reach me with any great feedback at nicole100@gmail.com.
Love it or leave it? Email me, Jill_Collins@bellsouth.net.
Thank you guys for watching In the Living Room. Until then, we'll see you next time. Peace.
In the living room, hiding from it is no longer a choice. In the living room, we're gonna talk about just about everything.